This was my vision board in 2024. And right here is a picture of San Francisco. This is now my San Francisco apartment. And right here is a picture of a Porsche 911. And this is my Porsche 911.
Yeah, I'm out at Brooklyn. Now I'm down in Tribeca, right next to the Narrow.
If there's one thing you should know as a founder, it is
Sinatra. And since I made it here, I can make it anywhere. Yeah, they love me everywhere. I used to cop in Harlem. All of my Dominicanos right there up on Broadway. Pulled me back to that McDonald's. Took it to my...
It feels so good to be back. I haven't held a camera for a week and a half now. I've been away at Burning Man, and we did a little decompression in Lake Tahoe. And the point I'm trying to make here is not that you need all this money or you need a Porsche. And I think Burning Man reminds me of this more than anything. And it's that you don't have to confine to whatever that life gives you. Using your own thoughts and your own will, you can bend reality to be according to your goals and dreams instead. You see, a year ago, I was completely bankrupt. I bankrupted my company. I had $0 in my bank account. I had maxed out credit cards, thousands in loans that were being written over to my name for my company. I had to use Amex points to just get a flight back home from to Sweden. And here I am, a year later, living out the vision board that I created for myself last year. And there's a saying that goes, goals without a plan is just a dream. Goals without a plan is just a dream. And that's what most people have. They just have dreams. And this is why vision boards are so important to me, because it's not until you write them down that they can become a goal. When you write them down and you manifest them, you visualize the outcome so clearly that it feels like it already have happened. Because when you're in a position where you feel like that outcome has already happened, you can start to reverse engineer your plan. What were the inputs? What was your character? What were the things you were doing in order to get to that outcome? So having the Porsche here and being in San Francisco is more than just living up to my vision board. It's proving that thoughts become reality, because thoughts affects your perception and perception shapes your reality and your actions. Enough ranting. I am in San Francisco. It was a goal I set out for myself last year. I wanted to spend more time here. So I have a couple of meetings I need to do here, but in general, I'm just going to be here networking. I'm going to be here for 4 weeks. So I got myself a really inspiring place that I can work out of. And as you're aware, cars is one of my big passions. So I got this nice Porsche for the entire length of my stay. So I'm just out on a little run. I'm going to pick up some groceries, do a little matcha run. I'll become a matcha guy, I know. I'm embarrassed. And then I'm going to get back and get some work done.
Time when there was war. The trees offer shade from the sun.
So what I'm working on right now is customer segmentation. If you're in B2B, you may have different types of businesses coming to use your service, where they are in different industries or are of different sizes. And if you're starting out, I would advise you to have as few, if not only one customer segment. It's better to be a miles deep than a miles wide. So what does that mean? Well, if you're trying to build something that is for everyone, it's going to end up being for no one. And if you have a very clear segment that you're going for, you can build it precisely and specifically for them. So if you have a lot of different types of customers coming to use your service, I would definitely recommend you to break down the different segments you have and then try to figure out which is most valuable to you. If you have a lot of data, what you can do is you can look at the LTV, the lifetime value, as well as the NPS score, so the Net Promoter Score, how happy they are with your product, and divide that with the churns, how often those different segments leave your product. That will give you a score that can determine which is the most valuable customer to you, and you can double down on just them. If you don't have data, your gut feel is going to tell you which customer segment is the best. But past building the product, customer segmentation is important for many other reasons. Partly in messaging, because you can have different ways of reaching them. So you can tailor your marketing different depending on which segment they belong to. Another one is pricing. We do same pricing for everyone, but that could be an important factor. The third one would be how you do your sales demo, because different segments will have different pain points. So it's important that you show what actually is important to them, and that will increase the likelihood of them signing on with you. But the whole reason why I'm doing this customer segmentation right now is more on the expansion side. So I've developed into 4 different groups, 2 based on the industry that the customers come from, and the other based on the size of the company. Because what we realize now that we've got into getting more enterprise customers is that our current onboarding flow, and we just have one way of doing onboardings right now, is not sufficient for some customers. And we're also growing in a team. We have now dedicated customer success staff who can work on an ongoing basis with our existing customers and help them grow and help them ensure that they stay engaged with our product and get even deeper into their processes. And depending on the value of that customer to us, we want to allocate more of our time to them and more of our customer success time to them. So by mapping this out, I can see both how many customers we have in different segments. I can figure out which one is the most valuable to us. And I'm going to try to retrace the onboardings we'll have with them and how much support we'll have with them and see if there's any red flags that I can find. And based out of that, update or create new processes that we have for both onboarding and customer success. Once this is done, we're going to have a bigger workshop, the entire team, next week to figure out the findings that I've had and also get everyone's input and nail down the processes going forward. But it's getting late. It's Friday, close to 8. I'm going to wrap this up, head to the gym, and then call it an early one because tomorrow we're going hiking in the Redwood forest. Nature, when left undisturbed, works in perfect harmony. Everything is evolutionarily wired to consume as little energy as possible, while still growing and thriving. Unlike modern civilization, where we, thanks to oil and gas, have an abundance of energy, and despite being finite, we treat like an infinite resource with mass waste tailored into our system. A wise man explained to me what the world is going through could only be compared to what ecstasy does to our brain. But instead of releasing months of stored serotonin in a matter of hours, we're on an equivalent time frame releasing 300 million years of stored energy in a span of a few hundred years. And without even realizing it, we're throwing parties of mass abundance to celebrate the peak of our era, almost like it was wired into us by nature. The question is, what comes next? Because just like the fall of every time before us, it made room for another epoch of even further human evolution. But until then, let nature be a source of inspiration, a room for silence, and a place to re-energize.
There is something on your mind by the way you look at me. There is something on your mind, honey, by the way you look at me. Can what you're thinking bring happiness, or will it bring misery?
Short week this week. It's Sunday already, probably my favorite work week of the week. You can just work without your inbox filling up with new things. But what I alluded to earlier is that you can only lose if you give up. So stay persistent, and make sure you write down your goals and visualize them so clearly that it feels like they already happened. From there you can then retrace your steps back to where you're at today. Anyway, this is the end of the week. Tomorrow I'm flying out to Minneapolis. I'm doing yet another on-site onboarding for an enterprise customer. So if you're interested in that, stick around for next week's video and I'll see you then.
And forget you, but I